Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now for tonight's sponsor. Is travel what you're looking for? Is adventure what you are missing at this time in your life? Well, boy, do I have a voyage for you. 6 weeks of pleasure leaving from England on a pirate ship to the Caribbean and to the unknown. You'll find yourself in an authentic scene, sleeping on the deck of a pirate ship, and having the opportunity of you yourself obtaining scurvy. All your adventure, treasure, and desires are found on Smollett's Pirate Ship of Pleasure. Sleeping spots on the deck are going fast. Book your tickets now. Now today,
I guess we got sweet
way
sultry
more
Josh.
Intimate than I'm used
Yeah,
to.
that
no,
was
I was trying to do it like a.
that was sweet sultry Josh, not normal. Welcome to the House of Nerd. It's like, hey,
Well, like,
welcome.
I'm all like, he's been listening to way too much ASMR. He's all like up close to
Yeah.
the mic and soft.
Well, I've always watched those like vacation, like
Nerd
things, and they always
Nation.
seem to like talk a little bit more like, "Welcome to your vacation."
Yeah,
Okay, I'm getting it.
yeah. So I was trying to mimic one of those.
my ears do not consent. So
Although when you said the opportunity to get scurvy, I want to just be in the background going, "Yay, scurvy!"
I know
that's what everyone needs.
Yeah,
everybody
needs
wants it.
scurvy.
Everybody should have it.
orange juice is
and
bad
stuff.
for you anyway.
Why?
It's an experience of a lifetime. Oh, okay. Today on the podcast, we are on the topic for the month, which is pirates. Yo ho ho, matey. And this week we are talking about John's pick, the 1996 movie Muppet Treasure Island, directed by Brian Henson, starring Tim Curry, the amazing, as Long John Silver, and Kevin Bishop as Jim Hawkins, aside Muppet performers Dave Goelz, Steve Whitmire, Jerry Nelson, Kevin Clash, and the always awesome Frank Oz. Let's talk about this movie, guys.
So first of all, unless you are a Muppets fanatic, you're only going to recognize Frank Oz's name probably out of all of those, out of all the puppeteers there.
You're right.
I recognize Dave Goelz simply because of Gonzo. Gonzo is probably one of my favorite Muppets, next to the Swedish Chef.
He's awesome.
So I kind of looked a little bit more into them, but like everyone else, I have no idea who they are. I just, they do their Muppets, and I know they're Muppets, and so to me, it's not the Muppet Treasure Island starring Frank Oz and Dave Goelz. It's actual Kermit and oh man, I can't even remember her name for a second.
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy, jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
So starring Miss Piggy, it's just interesting. Like I don't look at I've never thought of the puppeteers behind the scenes. Like they do such a good job of bringing them to life that I never think of the puppeteers really.
I always still keep looking for how do they make it look so like they're same in the room? I mean, for even as an adult, that thought still goes through my mind. How they compare so well, it's like I can't see the person underneath there. That's awesome. That just always amazes me that they can hide in a scene where other like normal performers are side by side. That's always been an interesting thing to me.
Yeah, and then I have to be careful, like, because I wonder where they are in the scene for one, and then I catch myself imagining each of the puppeteers as John Cusack in being John Malkovich. Like every puppeteer is John Cusack, and so that's what I'm imagining. All these puppeteers in the background is just a bunch of John Cusacks, doing what he does, and John Malkovich just.
That's always first
That's
thing
what I
comes to my
imagine.
mind too, man. John Cusack and John Malkovich being John Malkovich. we're too much the same, man. Too much the same. But no.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I've never been a huge. I've always liked the Muppets, but I've never been an enormous fan. of them. When I was little, to be honest, the Muppet Show kind of drove me crazy a little bit. I don't know. I always had a hard time watching that show, but as I've gotten older, a lot of their newer movies, like the last two that have come out, I've really enjoyed a lot and stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. Yeah, in all honesty, just because of my kind of like meh with the Muppets. Um, this surprised me, and I kind of focused also on. You were talking about the singing on the last podcast of this movie, and I thought some of the songs were. I thought the songs were fun. Especially Tim Curry, man.
Tim Curry's great,
dude. He is fantastic.
But I mean, you really didn't have other than the Muppets and Tim Curry. Like Kevin Bishop's not really a big name. Billy Connolly is not the biggest name, at least for me. He wasn't. I mean, he's not for me.
I know of him from a few, from British stuff, TV shows. Is he in A Fish Called Wanda?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I know that's not as a well known as a. I'm trying to see which movies he's in. Brian Cutterup.
But it seems to be like this is how the Muppet movies operate. You have the Muppets, and then they get at least one semi-big name at the time. Tim Curry here, or Michael Caine in the Muppet Christmas Carol, or man, I can't remember his name in the new Muppet movie. Can't remember his name for the life of me. But it's very formulaic. It's a very formulaic Muppet movie. You have the Muppets, maybe one or two big names, and then you make a movie out of it. It's just the same thing they did with their variety show. So I think they stuck to what they know, obviously, and do a good job at it.
Oh yeah.
But I'm very interested in Crit's reception of said movie. I know Josh. I know you would probably like it, and
yeah.
I can kind of guess some of your thoughts on it, but I'm very interested to hear Crit's reaction to the amazing Muppet Treasure Island.
Well, this isn't the first time I've seen it, so
I
it's not
didn't
like it
think
was a
it
unique
was.
surprise. Yeah, it was very entertaining, but it was also a musical, and musicals just make me cringe. And that's just a hang up with myself. I don't expect everybody else to agree with me on that, but I just, when they start off in the song, now the surrealness of Muppets makes it a little less, kind of a negative impact than regular.
Because you're already suspending disbelief, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you're just, I'm seeing arms and hands and stuff in the shot for the puppets and stuff like that, and I'm going, yeah, that's what they are, and that's fine. I don't mind the, kind of lack of perfection. And that's kind of what makes Muppet movies charming, Muppet shows charming. It's kind of its real life filmed things, and the puppeteering and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I was not here for the musical pieces, not really. I mean, there's some funny moments in there, and there's, even in the songs themselves. But for the most part, I was like, I'm not fast forwarding through the music because I'm doing this for the podcast. I want to be able to talk about it, but I'm not here for that. So
yeah,
that's kind of where I'm coming from with it.
I enjoy the music except for Kevin Bishop's song. His falsetto just gets so grating by the end of it. I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Please, can we? And it's not necessarily his falsetto. It's just that's probably how high his voice was
as
at
a young
the time.
boy. Yeah,
because he's a
young
young
high
boy.
C. Yeah,
yeah. Like, so I was just like, oh, okay. Can we please move on? This hurts.
Yeah.
But no,
really
no, it's not.
Fault.
No, but it's still one I like skipping.
Yeah,
I did not skip it because I knew you weren't going to skip it. But I kind of wish I could have. That's the only one out of them that I really wish. But to me, I do want to talk about, before we move on too much, the B story, because it almost felt like a TV show. The B story here is the rat cruise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole thing going on, the entire background, and
I think that's more of a C or D story. I think the
you could be right.
The A story is the map. The B story is
Miss
Hawkins'
Piggy and
kind of
Kermit.
familial
Oh yeah, with
relationships and stuff like that, and kind of finding a father figure, that type of stuff. So I think the rats are
that's
kind of just
true.
like a C or D story. It's like a background,
Yeah, a
but
background noise kind of
yeah,
thing
which
might be
is fine
better.
because the opening scene where they're burying the treasure, right? And the guy's like, 15 men died that day, and he was like, he's got 2 muskets. People just lined up and waited to die, and that was kind of an ongoing thing with muskets, is they treated them like they were,
Revolvers.
revolvers or pistols or
Yeah.
something like that. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Muppets. And then later on, they're like mixing in the rats with like jet skis and motorboats
Yeah.
and everything else like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is not. This is obviously not historically accurate, although they kind of went for it in some ways. So it's kind of, that's the weird part. But yeah,
Well, it's the same thing they did in A Christmas Carol with
yeah,
the narrator.
yeah,
With Gonzo and the Rat Rizzo being the narrators. Same kind of thing where they had this. We're going to commit fully to historic and everything like that, but then we have these two narrators that are just constantly breaking the fourth wall,
yeah,
and it's kind of the same thing with the rats. Like, no, we're going to throw jet skis. We're going to pretend like this is an actual cruise for them.
I
As
thought the
if it was
part where it
real.
was like almost like Universal Studios tour. We're like, and right here to
Yeah.
the left is actually Muppet Treasure Island set.
yeah.
I thought that one kind of caught me off a little bit. Had to
Yeah.
laugh pretty hard on that one.
Before we go too much further, I just want to make a comment on the 15 men died and the muskets as like semi-automatic pistols. It cracked me up with Tim Curry when they turn on Tim Curry temporarily, and he's
Mhm.
only got the one pistol, and then they serve him with a black spot, and like that whole
That was a good bit.
exchange was amazing bit,
Yeah.
and
Well, it doesn't work
I
without someone of Tim Curry's like screen chewing ability. Like that just doesn't work at all. Like he's got to be, he's acting across from, Muppets. He has to act larger than life in every scene, and he does it. He does it amazing.
Well, he does it in almost everything he does too.
Yeah, I think he's had some subtle parts in the past, but yeah,
I mean, when he needs to do it, he does it
yeah,
absolutely flipping well. I remember, when he's Pennywise in it and stuff like that. Man, when he's on screen, you know it, and he is creepy, and that's just the way it is. I wish I could talk to some of the like his oh my goodness, people are gonna kill me. The one where he's a transvestite. What is that? Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky
Show.
Horror Picture Show, yeah.
I've actually never seen it all the way through, so I can't. I've seen pieces and parts, but the parts I have seen of him, he does like an amazing job at it. That's one of the I do like musicals, but there's a few that I still like struggle with, and that's one of them. And stuff, just because it's so out there, but
hmm
it's just so strange. Anyway, but he is a phenomenal actor. Sometimes I wish you saw him more, in movies. He's still out there. He's still performing, but you just don't see him as much as you want. I think I'd like to. Anyway,
Well,
but
I
he
think he got really sick for a while too.
did he?
So, I think so. I know he had. I don't know if he had a stroke or something like that.
Oh no way.
I'm trying to think of what happened.
But
Yeah,
he got
he
sick.
suffered a stroke.
He did.
Yeah, he suffered a stroke about 9 years ago now.
Okay.
And you can tell he made an appearance back in October of 2020, and he has the drooping face still. He's still recovering. He's still in a wheelchair, so
Oh,
I
it
don't
was
see
that
him
bad of one,
acting.
huh?
Yeah, I don't see him acting again anytime soon, unfortunately.
Oh wow, that's awful.
So
Which is too bad. He's one of my favorite. There's a movie that it's a musical that I really, really like him in when I was a kid, and I still love this movie, Annie. I think he does as Carol Burnett's brother, Rooster. I like him in that too. He's just, again, when he is asked to chew up the scenes, boy does he ever, because he does in that movie as well with Bernadette Peters.
well, and Crit mentioned his acting with Muppets. I wonder how you know how difficult it can be acting with Muppets. I remember seeing the internet story about Ian McClellan like breaking kind of down on set because it's just all green screens, and you know I think it was on The Hobbit that he'd kind of just broken down because he wasn't really talking to anyone that was real. It was all green screen at the time, and I wonder how hard it is to deal with the Muppets. And it's helpful that the voices are there,
Well, I bet the Muppets are
because
easier because at least there's
yeah,
something to look
because
at.
they're actually there. Yeah. And so it's just suspending your disbelief, like having to treat them as an actual entity. And
Mhm.
I think again, a lot of that comes down to the skill of the puppeteer as well, and
Yep.
bringing those Muppets to life.
Absolutely.
But to be brutally honest, like this is just a treasure island. I mean, there's not tons here that's to really unpack. I don't think it's not. There's no like real hidden lessons other than what's already included, kind of in Treasure Island, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable show. You know, I did like some of the scenes. Speaking of the one at the very front, the very beginning of it, I did like that little musical number when they were, you know, hauling out
Bearing
the
the
treasure
treasure.
and stuff. And there was a couple other ones. The one that kind of took me by surprise was that one in the middle where they were bored. That one kind of shot. I'm like, it felt so out of
The
place, but
cabin
it's the
fever or
Muppets.
whatever.
Oh
It's
yeah,
the
Cabin
cabin fever
Fever.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
And that one kind of took me by surprise a little bit. But you know, so I
Well,
enjoyed those scenes, those ones, especially enjoyed, even the ones that kind of caught me by surprise. Again, it was more, I liked it more than I thought. But just in the fun of it all,
Well,
they were.
and what was surprising, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but what was surprising is some of the really dark content hidden within it, like when they're first boarding the ship and the pirates are talking about, like enjoying seeing a man hang because he does a little dance and his face turns blue, and I'm just like, geez, that's dark,
yeah,
guys. That's
right.
way dark.
It's like they take the lesson of this is a kids show and make sure you include jokes for adults, and it's like, well, we'll include something for adults, all right, but it's not going to be humorous.
Yeah,
And
this
it's
is
funny they do something like that, but then they do that whole scene where we're not going to drink. We're not going to. We don't drink on this ship. They
Well,
go
isn't
the
that
other way.
straight out of Treasure Island?
it is.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is. It's the
Yeah,
reason. Yeah,
that's
from the
Oh, I
original.
thought that was a Muppet thing.
It's the reason for the mutiny, or at least it helped with the mutiny.
yeah. It kind of pressured an early mutiny because they wanted
Right.
they were going to wait until the island, basically until they had the treasure, and then
Right.
it became insufferable, and so they got rid of man, what is the first mate's name? Horn? No,
Oh
You
man, I
can
don't from the
tell how
actual.
long it's been since I've actually
Yeah.
seen.
Red Treasure Island. Yeah,
Yeah. It's been forever because I didn't remember that at all.
yeah. So I mean, that's straight out of the book.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's good to know. I totally had forgotten that. I thought
And
maybe
you
they were
gotta
like.
give them something to look forward to.
Well,
Take away the booze.
if I if I was more industrious, I would have read the book also for this podcast, so I could kind of try to figure out what they chose to leave out and what they kept. But I wasn't that industrious, so
Yeah, me
Well,
either.
I'm kind of I'm appreciative they include the natives. I wonder
careful.
where that falls now. Yeah, Disney Plus. I can't remember if Disney Plus put a disclaimer in front of Muppet Treasure Island or
They
not.
didn't.
They didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I watched it on.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if they did or not, but they do disclaimers in some of their other shows.
Yeah.
But I'm appreciative of that. I think a lot of other Treasure Island movies don't spend the
My
time on that.
my guess though that they didn't put a disclaimer is that it's not like pointing at a specific group.
Yeah, but it's still
it's a group of pigs.
They made the Islanders pigs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not.
So
It just depends on if you see it as stereotypical or not.
Or if you think it's somehow a backhanded comment, which I don't think it would
Yeah.
be. Like I think
No.
they
Not
just-
in a Muppet movie.
they
Not
had
in a Muppet movie.
they had Miss Piggy as the the queen of the island, and it's like, okay, so it kind of falls out from that, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I will say that's actually the only part of the movie that I feel drags
Oh, not
is
every
kind of the
single musical. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I'm not you, Crit. I'm sorry. You should watch that new Apple Plus show, Smiggledoon.
I have no
think is
idea
what
what
it's
you're
called.
talking about. And I
I've
think
never
that
heard
that's
of it
probably
either.
a good thing.
a couple gets stuck in a musical, and the guy in the couple is very anti-musical. So it's
Okay.
interesting. That's our plug. That's our sponsor. Apparently, Apple Plus, please pay us.
Oh.
I was just gonna say the only thing I know what's going on in Apple Plus right now, because it's really the only thing I care about right now is Foundation. So
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like I saw the Foundation thing and I was like, oh, crap.
When does that come out?
Am I going to get another freaking streaming service just to be able to watch that? And I'm like,
I just keep
we'll
rotating
see.
through them, like I know a lot of people do. Like I'll take it for a
It-
month and watch what I want.
Yeah, it might be cheaper for me just to when it comes out as a purchasable thing on VOD.
Mhm.
I can just do that because I'm not really interested in the service. So
Or
It
you
looks
can
so
come over to
good,
my
too.
house and watch it
oh, you have
because I have Apple Plus.
Oh, you have
Oh.
Apple
Yep.
Plus.
Yep.
Well, we need to talk about
Well,
this.
we'll talk
Yes,
off
we'll
the
talk.
podcast.
Yeah,
off the
after the
podcast. We need to
podcast.
talk about this.
Well, I think it just kind of goes to speak that there's not tons to talk about Muppet Treasure Island that we haven't hit. I mean, there's the skill of the puppeteers. There's the fact that you're dealing with puppets. There's Tim
Which are
Curry,
always
which
amazing.
we handled, and then I mean it's Treasure Island. There's not a ton of subtlety in here. There's not a ton of undercurrent or anything to.
Wasn't
really-
anything shocking or out of the we've
No.
talked about the
It's
minor
It's
shocking
an
things.
entertaining movie. Like
You know,
that's
the only
its
thing
point, is to make you
the only
laugh.
thing that wasn't shocking, John, was they all still sounded like themselves. You watch some of the newer like Muppet stuff, and it's like, is that Kermit's voice? Is it?
Well, I mean, Frank.
I know
Frank,
people have changed it out and stuff.
I think Steve Whitmire either died or left, but Frank Oz is gone, I believe.
He's not. He's still alive.
No, I know. I didn't.
But somehow
Steve,
they have a beef with him. I don't.
Well,
But
Steve
I hear he's kind of
Whitmire,
like one of those guys that kind of does what he wants to, no matter what type thing. And pissed a
Well,
lot of
and
people
then
off or
didn't
something.
he? I'm pretty sure he had. Yeah, there's some issues. So
Yeah,
I
I saw an interview with him not too long ago. They were like honoring him for something. He's like, they're like, anytime we're gonna hear you in the Muppets, he's like, yeah, they don't have my number anymore. I don't think. I'm like, oh. I think they lost it. Because especially with like Yoda and all that stuff now, it's owned by Disney. He says he's not doing any of that, but he didn't go into the reasons why in the interview. Just kind of glossed over it real fast and moved on. But he always does an amazing job. I mean, he's been with them. I mean, he's been doing voices for them ever since the Sesame Street days.
He was with them for 27 years.
Yeah, which is absolutely amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. But I mean, other than that, I don't have much to say other that, that I liked it. I enjoyed it. And, these are always fun movies. A couple of things I'll throw out as facts though. I don't know. These are facts I always seem to go look for. The movie, what it made when it was released, it had a $31 million budget. And it made $34 million.
Oh, so by Hollywood standards, that's a flop.
It didn't classify it as a flop because of. I mean, it seems to be. I don't know if that's because of like they weren't expecting as much back then, but yeah, I would say probably so. I don't. It makes me wonder like how many of these. I wish I'd thought about that and gone back and seen how like all the Muppet movies have done over time. Because, yeah, that one seemed a little low. I would have thought, some of the other ones would have been a lot more successful than that, or they wouldn't have kept doing them, I definitely could be wrong on that, but because I know the last two they did very well, which is why they did them, because they hadn't done a Muppets movie for quite a while, The other thing I thought was interesting. So yeah, I guess it was kind of a flop, like you were saying, in that sense. wasn't as much of not a lot of people wanting to see it. But the one thing I did look at is some of the music, and a lot of the music was done by a lot of the producers and stuff like that. But one of the music creators was Hans Zimmer on this.
I was waiting for Trent Reznor, but
yeah,
No.
it wasn't quite. It was billed at the front of the thing. He got a huge. His name was basically by itself on the screen, so they gave him a lot of credit if he only did one song.
He did, and it was the pirate song at the very end, actually, or the Tim Curry's song, his number.
Okay.
Towards the end, that he did it. So I thought that was a little kind of interesting, in knowing that, because I too thought so that they build him so high that I was thinking to myself, oh man, he must have done all of the music.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So I thought that was interesting, because we've had on the last couple, just the different movie stars. Okay, so I pulled up what the different Muppet movies have. Actually, the ones that like the Muppets that was in 2011 did $165 million. So all of them done kind of in the neighborhood of about 35 to $40 million, which is kind of interesting. Muppet Treasure Island is actually towards the top of that, actually. So The Dark Crystal made 41 million. Team America? Okay, I'm not sure that's why.
Okay, how are we counting these as Muppets?
That's not a Muppets.
Yeah.
Well, Dark Crystal was. That was definitely Jim Henson.
But it was Jim Henson. It wasn't the Muppets, though.
No.
True.
Let's see. Actual ones that say Muppets in it would be 65 million's the Muppet movie, Muppets Most Wanted, which was 80 million, and the Muppets from 2011 was 165 million. So the Muppets Most Wanted
Christmas
was
Carol too.
Yeah, 2004. And then the Great Muppet Caper in 81 was 31 million. So anyways, those are the Muppets Take Manhattan, 25 million. I remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
And then Muppets in Space. It looks like the lowest one here that actually has the name Muppets in it is Muppets from Space.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me. That movie was a little rough.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's not my favorite Muppets. They do have a really good part with Swedish Chef, which is my all-time favorite Muppet next to Gonzo. So kind of go Swedish Chef and then Gonzo. They did have a really good part with Swedish Chef in there. So
Okay.
I will give them that. But he's by far my favorite.
My dad had HBO, and they played Muppets Take Manhattan on HBO on a loop. I swear, it was on so much. So I've seen that movie a lot. I wanted to bring up your Swedish Chef, by the way, before we moved on too. That was hilarious how they like called out his appearance in this movie. They're like, how else are we going to put him in the movie?
Yeah, basically. Well, because they already had a cook. That's the
Tim Curry.
That's the They already had Tim Curry. So like, how could you not?
Yeah.
How do you get him in there? And so they stick a nose on him.
This movie would have been very different if Long John Silver had been the Swedish Chef.
Yeah.
Kind of want to see that cut.
Bring out the Swedish Chef
remake.
cut.
Release a Swedish Chef cut, you cowards.
Oh man.
I'm sure it exists, man. It's probably got another 30 minutes on it too, or something. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
But it's solid.
Anyways. Well, that's all I've got. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
That's all I've got too.
Crit, no, I know you've got to have something else, man. Come on. I know you.
I don't.
Take it.
Don't.
I'm just joking.
I mean, yeah.
Not like I mentioned earlier. Like there's not a ton to decompress or unpack in this movie. It's entertaining, and I think we've hit all the high points of it.
I agree.
Sure. I mean, you
All
could
right.
go on about set design, but I think that's cool. They did a really good job on it, but it'll kind of get boring after a while because it's not the point of the movie. So,
No, I mean, if you want to talk about set design,
not
before we
really.
move on, it's
I was
like
bringing it up as a thing. We
but what I was
could
going to
talk
say is it
about
felt
to
like the
fill
Muppet
air.
Show, like almost like in a lot of ways a little upscaled version of like watching the Muppet Show and them doing kind of their little scenes in those.
Yeah.
I mean, the
It
horse
still felt
carriage
very
ride
Muppety.
through the town was pretty, like from a set standpoint, seemed like it was pretty complicated.
Yeah,
And they were, yeah.
that was probably one of the better. That was probably one of the better sets.
Like I couldn't imagine them doing that on the Muppet Show.
No. Good point. I was thinking more once, when I
Well,
said that,
everything
I was
else,
thinking more
yeah.
the island.
Yeah, and the ship too, for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, all right, let's go to the ratings. John, you want to go first?
Sure, I'd
I'll
watch
go
this with my
first.
mom.
You go first. I'll go second, and then we'll go crit, and then he can do his movies
Okay.
for next week.
Sure. Yeah, I'd watch this with my mom.
Okay.
It's like
Would she
nothing
like
else to
it?
say. Yeah, I don't think she'd care either way. She likes Muppets, so.
Does she like musicals?
Good question. I think so. It just depends on the musical.
Okay.
So, like,
Huh.
she might enjoy herself. She might not. I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't seen this with her for a long time, so.
Yeah.
Don't know. I'll have to
Yeah, I
watch
hear
it
ya.
with her and then report.
Okay. You get back to us. I'll be looking forward to it. No.
Be in the show notes.
Yeah. My rating for this one is 7 out of 10 scurvy dogs. I did enjoy it, but again, because of I'm just kind of meh with the Muppets. That's what I gave it. Even in it, I like the music and stuff, and that's why I didn't give it an 8. So, anyways, that's mine, and I'd probably own it for my kids. So,
Did your
yeah.
kids watch it with you, or did you watch it by yourself?
I watched it by myself. They're in a mode of watching, trying to watch. They were watching their other musicals.
Yeah.
They love Hairspray, so
Okay, fair enough.
the
All
musical.
right, and mine is 12 out of 19 scenes that weren't musicals. So I like those 12 scenes.
Very nice. Boy. All right. So let's go to our movie picks for next week, given by you, Crit. What do you got for us, man?
All right. So, number 1, what would you do for family? Number 2,
Okay.
knives seem appropriate. Number 3, an inventive use of composting.
I like number 2. Knives seem appropriate.
Yeah, I actually like that one too.
Ooh.
So I think we'll go with number 2.
Number 2 then. All right. So number 1 was what would you do for family? And that was Hook.
Hook.
Number
Okay.
3.
Good one.
Yeah. Number 3, an inventive use of composting, Waterworld.
Oh, that would have given us a lot to talk about.
Yes, it would have.
That was the other one I was leaning towards. If you hadn't said 2, that's one I was leaning to a little bit.
All right. Number 2.
Hopefully you made a good choice.
Knives seem appropriate. Under Siege.
Under Siege?
Yeah. With Steven Seagal. It's a pirate
Oh my
movie.
goodness.
No.
Yes.
Oh
Got him.
no.
That's a pirate movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
totally a
'cause
pirate
they're-
movie.
they're
It's piracy.
being-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's been too long since I've seen it. That's
Oh no.
awesome. Under I was
fell
not
for my trap.
expecting that. Which one were you hoping to pick? That one?
No, I would have been fine with the other 2, but I knew Under Siege would be something you guys would not see coming. So
I didn't
No.
see that one come.
No.
I kind of sucked there a little
Well,
bit.
I'm just gonna hold to the Tommy Lee Jones performance. Like that's what I'll hold on to.
Oh, he's in this movie?
yeah, he's in this
So is
movie.
Carrie Busey.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. It has been super long since I've seen this, like probably 20 years. So
Yeah.
Wow.
It'll be interesting.
Look forward to
So
seeing this.
we also need to cover that for next week, Josh. Your picks of movies need to be following the new theme, which
Yes.
is movies that remind you of another podcast member.
And trust me, I've been thinking about it.
And it
Now ask
can't
me
be
if I have
yourself.
anything
It
yet.
has to be. It has to be either me or Critic. It can't remind
know.
you of yourself.
And you have to
Okay.
tell us after we pick who you think the movies are based on. Or should
Do
wait for
we
the
want to
actual
do it
discussion?
after we pick, or do we want to?
The problem is I want to know on the, so there's 3 options, right? That
We
he'll
can guess
pick,
it.
he'll present to us, and then we'll pick one of them, and he'll tell us what it is. But I want to know what the other 2 that we're not watching, who it reminded.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we can.
So
talk about
if you'll tell us the other 2, the
Yeah.
one we
Okay.
didn't pick, if you'll tell us who reminds us in those ones, and then we can have the discussion of the other one. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Now I've got to pick stuff. I've been thinking of like, okay, what genres should I pick from? I mean, this is
you
a
pick
very
from
broad
anything.
one. That
Yeah. You're
yeah,
picking
that's
what I'm saying.
movies. You're picking movies based on personalities as you see them.
Yep.
So you can pick any movie from any genre.
This is
Have fun.
hardcore.
If you pick a musical for me, I will hate you forever.
No, it's the craziest thing about this is you're just like, for me, you're just gonna be like Star Wars, and it's another now it's Star Trek movie now. Oh
Yeah,
no,
I always
it's
thought of John as a kind of Darth Vader type person.
oh really?
Thanks.
All
Thanks for
kind of
that.
edge lordy, and
I don't think Darth Vader builds mechanical keyboards in his spare time, though. I don't,
I mean,
or keeps bees.
Well, he kind of does in a way.
we
He's
know
probably
of.
maintaining his own suit, changing out like interchangeable face plates on his suit.
built his own lightsaber multiple times.
I mean, most Jedi did that, though.
Yes, but still, are you
Yeah,
unique
all
in
right.
your mechanical keyboard building?
Good point. This is going to be a fun month, I'll tell you that.
Is it though?
It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard. All right.
Yep. All right. So Under Siege.
Under Siege
Okay.
it is. All right. And stuff. I'm looking forward to this. I haven't seen a Seagal movie for a while.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
This will be a
I'm
trip.
gonna have to push away in my mind how big of a D bag he kind of is in real life.
Eh.
And just focus on the movie.
Yeah, just focus on the movie. I'm sure we'll get plenty of Steven Seagal stories later, but
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
when we actually discuss it. But yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot around this one too, just like all of them. So, all right. I look forward to it, guys, and stuff. Can't wait for next week. Or can I? All right. And to everybody out there listening, thank you for supporting our channel and listening to our gobbledygook that we put out there and stuff. We have fun making it for you, and we hope that you enjoy it as well. Please click the like button if you heard what you liked here, and it really helps us and supports us with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, may you be excellent to each other and always live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House of Nerd. Good night.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.